if you've been looking in the health and nutrition sphere nowadays, you'll see a lot of different like eating patterns and styles that people have. You'll have like the OMAD, like the 1 meal a day, or some people just eat 3 meals a day, right? Like breakfast, lunch, dinner. Some people will be like doing the intermittent fasting, or the freaking 7 day water fast. And it's very confusing on like which one should you follow, right? But honestly, the thing is, in my opinion, any of them work, right? But some of them are just easier depending on the goals that you have, right? And also the lifestyle that you have as well. And so, if you're trying to lose weight, let's say you're trying to lose weight and you're a busy student, or you have work and you're just out of the day most of the time, right? I think that you shouldn't, or ideally, for most people, they shouldn't have a lot of their calories early on in the day. Why do I say that? First of all, if you're trying to lose weight, your calories are already more limited than usual. So if you have them early on in the day, when you come back home later at night, you are going to get cravings and you're not going to have much room to put calories, right? And to satisfy your cravings. Whereas usually students and people who have work are more busy in the morning and earlier on in the day. And so it's easier to not think about food when you're busy and you have other things to do, right? Also, another thing is that as a student or someone who has a job, right? There's You need to be using your brain to do most of the tasks that you do, right? Unless you work in construction, you're an athlete or something. For like, let's say a student, you're using your brain and your intellectual abilities to finish the tasks. And so let's say you had a big meal early, like very early in the day, very early in the morning before your classes, or before you're working on an assignment or studying for an exam. How would your performance be if you had the meal versus you didn't have the meal? 9 times out of 10, you would perform better if you did not have the meal, or if you had a very small snack. Why do I say that? Because when you eat, your body uses so much energy to digest food. Once food has gone into your stomach and your small intestines, your body allocates a lot of its energy to go to digest food, right? And so less energy then is getting directed to your brain, right? To your nervous system to whatever, make you think and actually do your work. And you're just gonna feel heavier, more lethargic. You're gonna want to rest, right? That's why it's called the rest and digest system, right? You're parasympathetic, and so you're not gonna be alert. You're not gonna be sharp when it comes to doing your work. And so that's why I honestly, whenever it comes to losing weight, and since I'm a student, I just do intermittent fasting. Not just because people like to backload their calories at the end of the day to, reduce cravings at the end of the day, and so that they sleep without feeling too hungry. I also just do it because, again, as a student, I cannot be functioning optimally if I have so much food in my system. And so I'll try to get most of my work done by like 2 p.m., right? So that any work I'm doing past 2 p.m. is very shallow work. It's not any deep work that requires selective attention, but I can multitask and use my divided attention. Like when it comes to like whatever, replying to emails or writing just like lecture notes, nothing too crazy like studying for an exam or like working on a big assignment. And so, yeah, I'll intermittent fast until like around 2 p.m. most of the time, right? Nothing too strict. I leave a pretty good range of like honestly 12 p.m. to like 6 p.m., right? Maybe sometimes even like back, maybe to like 7 or 8 if I'm sleeping later that day. But it's a range that I can eat whenever I want, really. And it'll depend day to day, but usually it'll start from like 2 and then I won't eat anything past 6. But that way, I'm done most of my work before I'm eating. And so once I start eating, and since I'm backloading, that means my meals are also becoming bigger and heavier. And so there's no way I'm doing any crazy work after I start eating. And that way I just also feel fuller when I do eat, and I don't have to worry about like, being hungry like right after I'm done my meal, because my meals are big enough to satisfy me. But yeah, once you just do it for like a week or longer, you'll get used to the schedule, because at first you're gonna start getting hungrier in the morning if you're used to eating in the morning. But once you start, making it a regular thing, not eating before 2 p.m. or noon, then you just automatically, you're gonna get so much less hungry, right? When you're not supposed to eat. And so, yeah, honestly, it depends on your goals in terms of like performance. What do you do? What's your lifestyle, right? If you're someone who like just doesn't really do any work, like let's say you just be chilling at home or something, and you just work out, then honestly you could just like eat in the morning if you want to, like, and have like a pre-workout meal or something and a post-workout meal. I work out in the morning like around 7 or 8 a.m., but I'm just fine with having like a black coffee, right? And that sets me up pretty nice. Like, I've gotten used to it, right? At first, sure, it used to be weird, but now I actually prefer and I like working out fasted. I feel lighter and like just sharper, right? I can focus more instead of just like feeling heavier and like more lethargic when I'm working out. But I know a lot of people like pre-workout meals, post-workout meals, whatever. So I guess you can structure that around whenever you do work out. But let's say for most people watching this, you're probably just students who are trying to eat healthy, and you're trying to lose weight maybe as well. And so it depends, right? But like, again, for me, I'm a student who's trying to lose weight, and so I told you exactly. Just intermittent fast, and then leave myself like around let's say a 4 to 6 hour uh, range of my eating cycle or my eating window. And yeah, I'll do it after I'm done like 90% to 95% of the work that I need to do for that day. And so yeah, if you want to learn a lot more on how to actually lose weight without destroying your health, then just click the first link in the description. It's the course where I teach you to do exactly that. And I'll see you there.